friends, this is the Bijou Baker. I'm Maria. I'm so stinking excited about this one. We're gonna make pistachio macarons with a chai cream cheese filling. The cream cheese that I'm gonna use is the Greek cream cheese. It's like a Neuchâtel, which just means it's got less fat. And I've always said if I can take out the fat without sacrificing the flavor, I'm in, and I can. And this is a great cream cheese in cheesecakes or spreads or anything. This will be the first one I look for, but it's not as easy to find as the big brand. You know who I mean. So, all right, bunch of different steps. Now, please understand that I don't do videos to show off what I can do. I can do this stuff, but that's not gonna get you up and willing to step out of your comfort zone and give things a try. I want to eliminate as much of the intimidation in anything that I'm making for you so that you can say, okay, I could do it that way. I want you to know why we're doing what we're doing and how it's going to affect the end product. That way, knowledge is power. So you know, well, why do they always put cream of tartar? Well, I'll tell you. And then you'll know. Everything, not in just the video, let's try it again. Not in just this video, but in all my videos, I try to just bombard you with knowledge. A big part of why I talk a lot, guys. If you want videos where they just, hold a camera over there and mix and whisk and poof and put in an oven and poof, the whole thing is done from beginning to end in 3 minutes. They're out there. They're out there. But that's just gonna intimidate you more because they didn't explain why they did what they did or what they're using or why they're using it. I want to break everything down for you. So I needed to do that because I've got a lot of emails about that content. So I want to put that out there so you know why I talk a lot. Okay, now this macarons, it's a delicate little puppy. Such a little, but when you get it, you're gonna get it. And when you know what's going on behind the scene, it's gonna be easier for you to get and to understand. So people will say, oh, it's such a delicate, finicky little cookie. It is, but they don't say why. Well, what good is that? And delicate and finicky just means, I don't want to do it. It's intimidating. So let's just knock that stuff off. There's going to be a bunch of different little tricks that I'm going to show you that's going to get rid of all those intimidating factors, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make pistachio flour. Now, macarons are traditionally made with almond flour and powdered sugar. That's the dry. And it is quite literally just those two things that you sift, 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 sift. I'm going to give you a key. They're not going to be in any order. It's just as we're going. But one of the biggest keys is sifting. You want a very, very fine dust. If you've got chunks in it, the top of the macaron is going to be bumpy. That's not what you want. You're going to want a very smooth surface. We'll get to that. So the first thing I did was I toasted my almonds. Now, no, I didn't. I toasted pistachios because we're making pistachio. Use the raw pistachios. I'm not about to try to sit and peel all these pistachios, so I buy them already peeled. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is one of those do as I say, not what I do. When you're doing it, most especially for the first time, use raw, untoasted, unflavored, anything pistachios. Put them on a baking sheet just like this. Okay, so let them cool. Do it a day before if you want to. Now, again, part of what do what I say, not what I do. As I started putting these in, I realized they're already toasted and salted, roasted and salted. Now, I want to roast them because I want to pull flavor out. Anytime I can add flavor, I'm going to do it. Almost always, no, always, roasting will add another layer of flavor. Plus, it's drying out the seed, so it'll be easier to get the powder from. As a matter of fact, if you put pistachios in a food processor and just let it go for a long time, you'll get like pistachio butter, because the nut is going to get crumbly, and then the moisture is going to start breaking through. And so you have that window. You have the nut, and then you have the flour, and then you have the butter if you keep going. So just so you know, we're not going that far. We're just going to make flour. And I've got my Ninja. I've got my Ninja. Only because I have it here. If I didn't have a Ninja, I would use a food processor. But, and when you do this, you don't want to do less than 2 or 3 cups at a time. Probably no more than 3 cups at a time. I'm just going to go ahead and process all of these nuts so that I can just have the whole powder ready for other uses, because I will. Okay, like I said, I'm just using my Ninja because it was handy. But a food processor works perfectly well. Nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to put in maybe 2.5 to 3 cups at a time. I'm going to turn this off because this baby's loud, and I'm going to have it going for a while. So I'm not going to fast forward it, so you can kind of keep an idea on how long it's going, okay? So I took off the lid and I kind of just scraped the sides up just to move it around. It's looking really good. Do a few pulses and then go for it. Sweet. It's funny because it's just getting moist. Had I let it go, it would have turned into butter. But it's still not snow fine, but we're gonna fix it. Okay, you might be wondering why I added a little extra of the flour. Because when I sift this, the bigger chunks are going to be gone, and they were taking up a lot of room. So I'm going to put in maybe 1 cup, 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon. I think we're going to get more than 1 tablespoon of the pieces that didn't get ground up. So I'm just keeping it even. So 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon. Let's do that. And we sift. This is one of the biggest secrets. I sift this at least 2 times, maybe more. And see these clumps? They're still good. They just stuck together. So I'm taking as much of the powder as I possibly can, knowing very well that there's going to be quite a bit of, see, that's definitely more than a tablespoon. Now, this right here, this is a perfect thing to top on ice cream or whatever you want to do. I'm going to put this in a bowl because I'm definitely not going to throw that. But you can see how fine this is. Yay! Okay, so now the egg yolks. Okay, if you know me, you know that I love baking with jumbo eggs. The larger egg whites give me the volume I want for my cakes and stuff. The larger egg yolks give me the richness. For this particular recipe, for my macarons, I'm using the large egg whites. I'm going to use 3 egg whites. 3 egg whites come up to a half of a cup. Now, why is that? Why am I bothering with that? Let me tell you. You've got your egg whites and you've got your powdered sugar flour combo. They need to work together. They need to match. The quantities are important here. More important here than almost in anything else. So if I use 3 of my jumbo eggs, I'm going to get a little more than half a cup. And it's not going to match. So they're going to be too runny. If I use the regular size eggs, they're so small anyways, they're going to be too small and then they're going to be dry. You understand? So I need them both to be both. Now, if you crack your eggs and put them in a measuring cup, just for your sanity to check off, what did I do wrong? Because you didn't do anything wrong, but there's a reason why it could have goofed up. So put your egg whites in a measuring cup and you should get to about half a cup. Now, if you don't get quite to a half a cup, don't worry about it. Just take out a little bit of the powder. That's all. I'll break down the texture you want when you're done. I'm going to help you through this, I promise. But I do want you to know about the eggs and the sizes and why it matters. So, next step. I lied. Before the egg whites, we need to prepare the pans. So here's a couple of interesting pieces of information to have for your pans. I've got 2, I'm going to be using 2. One of them I have silpats on. The other one I'm just going to use parchment paper. I can't, mainly because I can't remember which I chose. I can't remember which is my preference, so I've got to do both so I can remind myself. So you have the reason, I think it's silpat, because I think the reason I didn't want to do the parchment paper is because the moisture in the batter wets the paper and leaves it kind of wrinkly. If I'm right, let's find out. But to prepare your pan, your parchment paper, for beginners, because after a while, you're not going to need this, I promise. But to take away anything intimidating, let's just start from the very beginning. So you've seen those silpats that have holes on it already that are used as markers to know where to put your batter. Well, those are great. And if you don't have one, then you can make your own. The size, okay, that's up to you too. Now, this one is just this. A spice container. So is this one, but this one's bigger than this. You see? So if you're going to decorate on top of them, I would go with the bigger one. If you're going to write on it, I would go with the bigger one. If you have a lot to do for a party, I would go with the smaller one. So let's just go with the smaller one because I want to make more. And all I'm going to do is make a circle around here. And then go in the middle just for spacing purposes. Then you're going to turn it over, and there you go. About 100 years ago when I was married, my husband's great-grandmother, I don't remember how it goes, she was a baker. She was she was a baker. And she was good. She was really good. I loved baking with her. It's so funny, the old school versus new school. She won blue ribbons all over the place, you know, so I can't question what she was saying. But once in a while, like my high school home ec teacher, I'd have to question something. Example, she would tell me that when you're going to make a cake, if you put in 4 drops of food color, then you have to take out 4 drops of liquid. Really? I'm thinking it matters like that? So of course I went home and I made it without taking out the 4 drops of liquid. And no, some people make things too complicated. Don't worry so much about it. Is this a perfect sheet? No. Who is going to know that but me and you? So don't worry about perfection on things that don't matter. The egg and flour thing, yes, pay attention to that. This, no, don't worry about stuff. Don't make it more than it is. That is the biggest problem with people wanting to go and do more, because they think, oh, but I can't because I don't know how to take out 3 drops of liquid. Don't. I promise you, we're not making an atom bomb. We're making cookies. So even worst case scenario, they go bad, you still have snacks, you know. And I always say I never fail. I learn or I win. So I've learned that. I've learned not to be so finicky about things that don't matter and pay attention to the things that do. All right, so the pans are set. I've got all my ingredients, and there's very few ingredients, which is really kind of funny, right? Such a finicky cookie, but only a few things to put into it. So there's only a few things that you can mess it up, right? That's what I know. Okay, so we're starting off with a meringue. If you didn't know that, that's the base of your macarons. And all meringues will have egg whites, sugar, and cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is a stabilizer. It's what's going to give it the stability to hold its shape. And the sugar, obviously, is to keep it sweet. This is a sweet cookie, strange enough, even though it's only a quarter of a cup. But it's so good. All right, so let's just go ahead. Maria, quit talking. It's sad how much I crack myself up. All right, because this is a meringue, you need to make sure that everything is 100% grease-free, okay? Absolutely clear of grease. That's anytime you're making a meringue. It won't build. It will just deflate. And we're using a whisk attachment because that's what's going to whisk around and pull in all that air to make it light and fluffy. All righty. 3 egg whites. And yes, I'm gonna just let it drizzle. You know I hate wasting. I just hate it. All right, and for this we're gonna use 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And whisk away. To see all of it. Oh, that's a good angle. All right, so it's not doing anything. I'm going to pick it up. The cream of tartar is going to look like there's chunks in there and it's not doing anything. Don't worry about it. It'll kick in. Then I'm going to slowly add my sugar. I'm going to let that keep going. This is where I would add salt, just a pinch. I'm not going to this time because the nuts were salted. So I'm not going to add more salt. You don't want to. You only need that really to kind of just hold it together. It does some strange stuff, right? While that's going, and I want to get it to soft, shiny heat. Let me see. Let's go see. No, not yet. See, it's dripping. I don't want it to drip. I want it to hold its shape. Okay, sorry about that. That gives me time to talk to you about the bag and the tip. Now, again, depending on the size of macarons that you're going to make, you're going to have different tips. And these tips come in all sorts of sizes, just like nesting, all the way up to big. This one is a 9 PT. Don't worry about the numbers. And this one I think is just a 14. No, it's a 1A. It's a 1A. I think I'm going to use this one. Which one are you going to use, Maria? If I was making the bigger macarons, I'd probably go with the bigger. No, I'm going to go with the bigger one, just because it's going to give me a more even pipe. If I go the smaller one, I'm going to have to swirl it around to make it bigger. I don't want to do that. Okay, you see this? You see that? That's what I want. It's good, it's stiff, it's shiny. Can you see the point? See how it's just kind of like hanging over but not really doing anything? Now's the fun part. Now I'm going to just add all that powder that I just made. I'm going to add it at one time. Okay, and I'm going to do this part by hand. You know me, I'm taking everything I made. Now, this is where it starts to get intimidating. All I'm going to do is fold it. If you stir it too much, it's going to be runny. That's not what you want. They won't lift. If you don't stir it enough, it's going to be lumpy and crack on top. And that's definitely not what you want. So, what's the right consistency? Oh, who asked that question? That's a great question. So, first you want to make sure that all the dry is incorporated. I am not going to add, I don't want to add food coloring. I don't like food coloring, but I'm afraid that for the camera, I might just need it. All right, so all the way to the bottom, pick it all up. Okay, you see how it's clunky? That's too dry. I mean, not dry, it's not mixed well enough. So I'm going to keep until it flows. I want it to flow, not like cake batter, you know, the thin running cake batter. I don't want it to run like that, but I definitely want it to fall on itself. That is really good. I'm going to give it, oh, see how it, all right, let me show you what I saw. So I'm going to lift this. And when it falls down on itself, it's going to ribbon. That's what you want, okay? That's what you want. Sweet. I hate to do it, but I think I'm going to have to add a drop of food coloring. And that's only because come on, just a drop. I know, right? How silly, but I don't want it like St. Patrick's green. And I'm telling you, I should have did that before because I don't want to mix it too much now. That one drop, look at that. Holy moly. Yep, I should have doggone me for not thinking ahead of time. That's all right. Listen to me. I am not at all worried about messing these up. I'm not worried about it. I'm worried that you might think, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. I know what I'm doing. But if I would really rather I mess mine up than you mess yours up. I handle it well. All right. So because it's a runny batter, the best way to put it in your bag is to just hold it in a cup. All right. And another thing I want to do is I want to twist this and poke it through because I don't want it to be running. See, so it's gonna kind of like lock in place. All right. So that's in there. This goes over. I'm going to push that down, and I'm going to fill it as much as I can. And I'll tell you what, I am not worried about the green food coloring not getting into every tiny spot. Yeah, I want it all. I want to just use it all at once. All right, that is done. Let me get my pan. Okay, so I took it out. You see that spot? Now it'll run down. But here's the thing, because it is running, it is a wet batter, a runny batter. I have to do this very carefully. So let me take you, you know what? Let me take you further down. I don't want you to miss it. Okay. The part where I put the cookie batter onto the cookie sheet with the pastry bag and just, I never recorded that. So what happened was I recorded something and then I stopped. I thought I stopped. I didn't turn off the recorder, so it's recording me do some goofy stuff. So with the recorder on, I thought, okay, I'm ready to pipe the cookies onto the sheet. Let me turn on my camera. Click, I turned it off. So here I am piping. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to say sorry because it was such a stupid move. But I got them on. I want to show you the imperfections on this plate, on this tray, because I don't want you to think that mistakes don't happen. So what? So what? Let's see. I think this one's going to be too runny. I may have to redo it. That's fine. So let me show you the imperfection. Okay, so this one's a bit bigger, and these are smaller. Okay, but these two are going to be paired, so it doesn't matter. And then this one will find its match, or it'll end up in my mouth. You don't lose here. And on this tray, oh, there's all sorts of fun stuff happening here. A really wonky Mickey Mouse is happening. But other than that, it's fine. It's okay. This is probably the most important part of your macarons. They need to sit out for about 20 to 30 minutes. I know. It's like, I went to all that trouble. I want it in the oven. I know. What's happening? The air is going to give a crust on the top. It's going to dry it out on top. That's perfect because underneath it's still moist. So when it bakes, they're not going to spread out. They're going to lift up. And that's when you're going to get that little foot. That's what they call it. That little bumpy edge on the end. That's the sign of a perfect macaron. And I may have to make another batch. I don't care. This time I'm not going to add the grain because that's a pretty good color. Those pistachio bits are kind of neat looking. Okay, anyways, getting back to the squirrel. Okay, so it's going to dry the top. How do you know they're done? You're actually going to go touch them. You're going to have your macaron here, and you're going to be able to just glide your finger gently. You're not going to push. You're going to gently glide your finger. If your finger glides and there's nothing on your finger, it's ready to go in the oven. So we wait. We don't wait. We get onto the cream cheese, the chai cream cheese filling. Oh, I already can't stand the wait. So that's going to sit, that's going to dry, and we're going to get on the... I'm going to show you something. Simply because I hate waste, and because I still have a bit of a time, I'm going to take a toothpick, and I'm going to define my lines here. Run it up the middle, and take it away. You would be surprised, my friends, how many of these little tricks happen on the big video companies. All these little things just to make you think you're losing your mind when yours don't turn out like this. Now there's a little gap. There's a tiny little gap, but there's a gap. Same thing with this. Running it all the way through and lifting it up. It's food, so everything can be fixed. If you're willing to take your time, you can reap the rewards. You see? So you do this to what you first thought was a mistake, and when you accomplish it, winner, winner, baby. I'm just making sure I wipe off my toothpick after every dip. You're not going to see this on the other macaron videos, that's for sure. Must be nice to be perfect, I guess. I'm not going to worry about that. I am absolutely good with this. Okay, onto the cream cheese icing, the chai cream cheese icing. In the video below, I showed you how to make this chai powder. This is, you want this in your arsenal, in your pantry, baby, let me tell you. Cakes, cookies, chicken stews, The combination of these spices, they work. They work. Well, chai lattes and chai teas are some of the hottest things out there selling because of the flavors. So we're going to put this baby to use. All right, so I've got my 1 brick of cream cheese, and like I said, I'm using the Greek cream cheese because it's so good. It's got that perfect snap to it, which I love. And then I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of softened butter. This is one of the easiest cream cheeses out there. I want to make sure you get a really good view. Not that there's much to see, but it's kind of cool. And about a teaspoon or so, not a lot, of vanilla. Now, you know, if I'm saying not a lot, there's something to it. It's vanilla. All right, and of course, with the KitchenAid, you scrape the bottom. You guys, I wish you could come over. I wish you could come over so I can just spoil you. All right, with this, I'm going to add powdered sugar. I'm going to add maybe, let's start off with 3 cups. I'm playing peekaboo with it. It's only because I don't want to wear it. Three cups might be good. I'm going to add just a splash of heavy cream. That's more than enough liquid. And bring that baby up. Okay, right here, this is just beautiful cream cheese icing. That is so darn good. All right, but I want to add my chai. Holy crack-a-mole, the minute you open up that lid, you are bombarded with spices. So nice. And I'm going to sprinkle it in. I should have and could have put it in with the flour. I mean, why do I always do that? With the powdered sugar? But I won't tell if you don't. Yep, that's it. I can tell just by the look and the smell that that's 1 tablespoon is perfect. And whip it away. That's it. Man, oh my gosh, you guys, you're not going to be able to get over this aroma. It just tastes like home. Let me see. I'm going to show you. Forget about it. I just want to dab a little here, dab a little here. But that cinnamon, that cardamom, that nutmeg, and the cream cheese. sorry guys, but you're gonna love this. Okay, this right here is the absolute scariest part because you need to see if they're ready, which means you have to touch them. It's like, no, I don't want to because what if I dent it? Okay, then you dent it. Then you know it's not done. It's going to have a dull shine. Let me see if okay, do you see that dull shine right there? I'm going to touch it. I still hate this part. Okay, it's not coming off my finger, but it's not quite ready. Nope, I need it to be firm enough to slide over. Okay, time to test it again. Oh yeah, that's a much firmer top. Sweet. I can go over a little, not rough, but a little more confidently. Okay, so into the oven they go. Temperature set at 300 degrees for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. That's a pretty exact time. If you undercook them, they're going to stick to the paper. They're not going to be done inside. So what's going to happen when it's inside? Because the crust is already stopping it from going wide, it's going to just lift. And hopefully, we'll get our feet. In the center of the rack, one tray at a time. One tray at a time, that's it. Okay, why only one at a time? And some people like to put them in for 10 and then turn the pan around and then put it in on the other side. Leave them alone. Just leave them alone. They're a very demanding cookie and they demand to bask in the heat for 20 minutes. So let them. You'll be glad you did. That's done. Now it's just a matter of waiting. Once those are out, this tray's coming in. It's a time-consuming cookie, but it'll be worth it. I got feet. You never know. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for years, and it's still like, oh, I hope. Do the steps right, you'll get it. But it's still pretty cool when you actually see the feet on the bottom. They lift up really easy. Look at how pretty and smooth. The top, but mostly the feet. I'm a happy girl. I won't touch them yet because they're not done. The other ones aren't done, and I don't want to ruin them without the stuffing in it. So you can see how easy they lift up. And now they're fairly sturdy. This is perfect. Had you undercooked them, they would not lift. You would have residue. The bottom part of this would be on the paper. So I'm just lifting these up just to separate them and let them finish cooling. That's going to be a yummy one just by itself. Okay, and the waiting begins. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone and I've matched my sizes, okay? They're various sizes. I do like the smaller ones better. I do. I'm going to confess. Let me see. Is that better for you? Okay. I do like the smaller cookies. I think they look nicer. But it doesn't matter. They have feet. So what I did is I literally went around and I found its mate, you know, size by size. And this one's going to get filled, and this one's going to get, these are going to be the toppers. So, and don't worry about the sizes, you know, especially if this is your first time, guys. Really, really, don't worry about the sizes. So you're going to take your amazing chai cream cheese, and you're just going to, I like holding them in the center and out. And you don't have to go all the way to the end. And you just want to smush it. Okay? So, I'm going to go a little bit further out though. Or just squeeze harder. This icing is, oh my gosh, you guys, it's amazing. All right, so the top goes right on, and mushy mushy. Okay. And I will tell you, I didn't need that 1 drop of food coloring. The color from the pistachio nut was enough. So this was the other one that had a really big gap. You see how tight it is on this end, and then it opened up? I couldn't even begin to guess why. I've never seen it before, but I'm gonna just eat it like this. Okay. Oh my God. Oh man. Not bad. You guys, I'm serious. What a combination. This baby, I want this by the spoonful. I don't know what flavor is strongest. That pistachio. It's light, but it's not hidden. But that, the cardamom, the cinnamon, and the cloves in that buttercream, and the cream cheese icing, forget it. It takes this delicate little cookie over the top. I'm at a loss for words, you guys. This is probably the best cookie I have ever made. Okay, so let me go through the basics for you. Okay, so I'll have them down written below. So you do a screenshot, and then when you make them, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? You do those things, you've got this baby. I'm gonna have to make another batch just because they're so good. That cream cheese icing, chai. You guys, if you've never tried chai in desserts, I really plead with you to give it a shot. The video is below on how I made it. And below this video is written down the key points to this. 1, your egg whites need to be at a room temperature. This is not in any order, so don't put more stress on yourself. You do want to use cream and tartar. Don't fake it without it. Sift your nuts and your flour and your powdered sugar. Sift those really, really well. Gently fold the dry in with the egg whites. Right when they're wet, that's when you add your food coloring. When you add your food coloring, if you get it to just the perfect color, it's going to fade as it bakes, just so you know. So make it just a smidge darker, if you even need it. So the food coloring. Let it ribbon down. Mix it until it ribbons down. Let it sit as long as it needs to. If it's not done in 20 minutes, leave it alone until you can roughly, smoothly, bravely run your fingertip across the top. At first, don't worry so much about it. It's intimidating. It's okay. You got a whole bunch on your plate, so what if you run one? Then you bake it for 20 minutes. Don't mess this part up, because this part, it needs to do what it needs to do, so leave it alone. These are the things that are going to take away the intimidation of this delicious cookie. I am throwing down the gauntlet. I want to know which of you are willing to try this cookie, most especially those of you who watch tons of videos on macarons but have never tried it. This is yours, baby. This is all yours. And when you do, please, please share with me. Let me know how they turned out. Let me know where your struggles were. I answer every email. I try to get to every comment. So email me, thebijoubaker1@gmail.com. I will reply right away, especially if you're in the middle of it and I really want to stay on top of your trials, your successes. Oh my God, this is so good. I should be ready for lunch, but I'm having cookies. Lots of them. All right, my bakers, my friends, this is a pistachio macaron with a chive buttercream filling, cream cheese filling. I gotta get my words right. All right, my friends, until next time, happy baking.
Ah, that was fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe.